Hi, everybody. This is Warren Griffin with eXp Realty, and I'm here with Elizabeth James, and she's with Crossroad Mortgage Company. And I want to do an interview with Elizabeth. We've known each other for years, and she's an expert in a couple different fields in the mortgage industry, one of them being Indiana Housing Community Development Authority. And the advantages to buyers are just tremendous. And I have found with experience that a lot of people really don't know that much about Indiana housing community development. And what they do know, a lot of times they think it's only exclusively for first-time home buyers. But there's much more to offer there. And so, Elizabeth, it's good for you to come in this evening and talk to everybody about this. And I want you to kind of explain a little bit about this and some of the advantages. And one of the first questions I have is, the resources that are offered. Tell me what kind of programs are available, not just to first-time home buyers, but basically just a quick overview of what the services are and the advantages of them for potential buyers for a home.
Sure. So Indiana Housing has been around for a long time, and I've worked with them, over all the years that you and I have known each other. And they do offer a lot of other things besides home ownership stuff. They offer help to renters and to elderly folks and just disabilities, helping them with some accessible things. But the programs that I focus on are the ones that help people to be able to buy a home. And it doesn't necessarily need to be their first home. The majority of the people that I do assist with using this program are first-time buyers, but they do provide some down payment assistance. So the program really, it's not a good fit for everyone, but for those folks who just haven't had an opportunity to save up money for their down payment, maybe they're coming from a home where they don't have a whole lot of equity, so they're not going to have enough, to make that next move. Maybe they're downsizing, or, maybe they're just moving to a different area and they just don't have the equity in their current home. This is a program that can come in and help kind of fill that deficit for them. So it really provides an opportunity for people who are ready to buy right now that just haven't had the ability or the opportunity to save up a lot of money. So it's kind of what I like to say is maybe deferring their down payment down the road a little bit.
Sure. Well, let's talk about that. Let's break that down a little bit, because I think a lot of people aren't aware of the different levels there are. Let's talk about first-time home buyers first. And then let's break down, well, I'm not a first-time home buyer. What can Indiana Housing do for me? So let's assume, first of all, you're a first-time buyer. Talk about that a little bit.
So they do offer a couple of different programs that are primarily for your first-time home buyer. One is called First Step. The other one is called Step Down. So in your First Step program, it can be an FHA program or a conventional program. And what's going to determine which way they go is kind of dependent on what their credit score is. One of them might be a better choice for a certain buyer, maybe with a stronger credit score. But the interest rate is the same. Conventional might offer some opportunities for some different kinds of properties, like condos that may not be able to use an FHA mortgage. So that's something that I would look at with each individual person based on the properties that they're looking at. But First Step is for first-time home buyers. But in just about every county, there are some targeted census tracts. What those are, certain areas within zip codes that have been targeted where they're really trying to drive home ownership to those areas. And if a particular property falls within that census tract, you do not have to be a first-time buyer in order to use the First Step program or the Step Down. So First Step will provide a total of 5% assistance. Okay, so on an FHA loan, your required minimum down payment is 3.5%. So you're going to get that covered by this program, but then you have an additional 1.5% that you can use towards your closing costs. So it's not going to cover everything, but it's going to go a long way. So once you have credits for earnest money or property tax prorations or any other items they may pay for ahead of time, like their appraisal, it's going to cover a lot of that. So what they're coming to closing with is going to be, pretty minimal, depending on the property and what their homeowner's insurance is, and different things like that. But you can come in and ask for some seller concessions. Most of the time, if they're able to get maybe $2,000 from the seller in some help, and that's where you can kind of strategize their offer to make
what
that.
What about a gift letter or something like that? Is that applicable too?
Absolutely. Yeah, they can get gift funds on top of this too. So in essence, they can come to the closing table with $0. If we structure it just right, they can even get their earnest money back if we've sourced it, gone through all the process. So they really truly can come to the table with zero money down if we work together in kind of structuring those offers and kind of getting them concessions or gift funds, different things to help cover that.
All right. Can I have another question? I don't mean to interrupt you, but what are the qualifications for something like this? Like when somebody's talking to you or I'm talking to them and they need this program, what are you looking for as far as like credit scores, income levels? I know it's probably different throughout different counties in the state, but let's say for just the purposes of this conversation, the metro area, what are you looking at as far as income levels? Is there a purchase price level? What are the qualifications and some of the criteria there?
Right. So Indiana Housing kind of sets these limits. These are not, these aren't our rules. They set these limits, and they do change them from time to time. But right now, in order to qualify for these programs, you have to have a 660 credit score.
Okay.
And that means you have to have at least a 660 score across 2 of the 3 credit bureaus. And used to not allow rapid rescores, but they allow that now. So, if we can kind of tweak some things on credit, if they're real close, we can get them there. There are income limits, and these are based on whoever is on the application. So if you have a husband and wife maybe that are going to be living in the home, but maybe the wife doesn't have great credit, so she can't be on the loan, but we can qualify with just the husband. They're only going to consider his income in the limits, right?
Okay.
So we don't have to consider household income like some other loan programs, like USD looks at household income, even if the other spouse is not going to be on this loan. So they only use the income for the person who's on the loan. And those income limits are really pretty generous. So if you're looking at Hamilton County, Marion County, Boone County, those areas up there, for a household of 1 to 2 people, you're looking at a limit of just under $111,000.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So pretty generous. Now that goes up if you have a family of 3 or more. That's going to go up to, $127,000, $130,000. It is really pretty generous as far as what those limits are. And the acquisition limit, or the maximum purchase price that they can buy a home for, is going to be in that $486,000, up almost $600,000 in some areas. Now, let's be honest, a lot of people are not going to be able to buy that high because, they're going to have other debts. But they do have a maximum debt to income ratio of 45% on these programs. So what
That's
that
pretty
means,
generous, actually.
I mean, just for anybody who's watching this video, if you're not quite sure what that means, once we calculate your gross monthly income, so that is your income before taxes, before they take out for health insurance, all of that, your pure gross income, you're going to take 45% of that gross monthly, and that's what you can use for your new house payment, and anything that's on your credit. So car payments, credit cards, any other installment loans, personal loans, student loans, that all has to be in that 45%. So, there are some limits there, but we can look at what their maximum is going to be as far as, how do we structure the deal? What does homeowners insurance look like? What are the property taxes on any given property? Are there HOA dues? All those things kind of come into play. So all things that we would talk about ahead of time before they, meet you out at a property to start really getting serious and shopping and thinking about making offers. We're going to talk about all these numbers so that they know exactly where they need to be.
Okay, great. Well, so let me ask you this. It's better before people start to go out and look that they actually contact you ahead of time first, right? I mean, that process, can you do a lot of that over the phone or online to make it easy for people to at least get an idea of where they're at before they actually start looking at properties?
Yeah, absolutely. Most of everything that we do is online. I do like to have a phone consultation just so I can kind of get to know them a little bit and understand, their timeline and their budget and kind of how they feel about, what really potentially the biggest investment they're ever going to make is in a house, right? So just getting to know them and making sure that we're able to kind of meet them where they are and make sure that we're respectful of their budget. Maybe they can afford a $400,000 home, but they really want a payment that's more a $250,000 home, and really making sure that we're keeping them in there. And again, I don't want them to fall in love with a house and then not be able to afford it either. And everybody has wasted their time. You've wasted your time showing them a home that they can't afford. And, just setting forth some realistic expectations for them and just so they know exactly where they stand financially. And a lot of people just don't understand that. And we always do a soft credit pull in the beginning because, we're just trying to get to know, what are the possibilities and what can they do.
Sure. And if we have an issue with somebody on their credit, you can counsel them and step them through that process, how to repair the credit too, correct?
Yeah. I've been doing that a long time, and that to me that's solving kind of an issue that everybody has, and credit doesn't just affect their ability to buy homes. It affects your rates that you can get on buying a new car. It affects your insurance. A lot of employers now look at credit. So, even if they never ever buy a home with me, if I've helped them to clean up their financials a little bit and clean up that credit report and get on the right track and do all the things that they should be doing to improve that, then that's just going to make other things better for them too. I've worked with families for up to 2 years before, helping them just kind of making sure they're staying on track and doing everything that they should do to become homeowners.
Well, how does somebody get a hold of you? And I know we're going to have questions about this, and people are going to want to talk to you. Give them your contact information. Make it easy for them to get a hold of you.
Yep. You can reach me by cell, call or text. Usually text is better just so we can set a specific time. Sometimes I have a real problem focusing. So if I have a specific time that we are scheduled to talk, then we're not going to play phone tag forever. So my cell phone is 317-372-4404. And they can always email me at elizabeth.janes@ccm.com. And that's Janes with a J-A-N like Nancy E-S. So I get Jones a lot or James a lot, so.
Can you repeat your phone number one more time for people?
Yep, it's 317-372-4404.
Okay. Well, everybody, I hope this has been informative for you. I've known Elizabeth for years and years, and she's, in my opinion, one of the best in the business. We've done a lot of deals together, and she knows Indiana Housing Community Development Authority. As good as anybody out there. So make sure you get a hold of her with any kind of questions. Elizabeth, thank you for taking the time tonight to do this. It's been very informative for people, and I appreciate it. And just keep up the good work. We appreciate you coming.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, and I hope we can help some folks out there, and we'll get to it.
Okay. Thanks, Elizabeth. Appreciate you.
Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.